If you're prepping for your AWS Certified Solution Architect exam, you absolutely know that securing your content is a huge deal. So today, we're going to tackle a concept that's pretty much guaranteed to come up: how to properly lock down your S3 bucket so people can only get to your content through CloudFront. Trust me, you need to know this stuff, so let's dive right in.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First up, we're going to look at the original lock on the door, something called Origin Access Identity, or OAI. Then we'll see where the cracks started to show in that old foundation, which leads us straight to the modern replacement, OAC. We'll put them head-to-head in a showdown, I'll show you how to make the switch, and we'll wrap up by answering that big question: do you really need to migrate?
All right, so let's paint a picture. You've got all your website assets, your images, your videos, whatever, sitting nicely in an S3 bucket. And you're using CloudFront to deliver that content super fast all around the world. But here's the catch, right? What if someone gets a hold of your direct S3 bucket URL? They could bypass CloudFront completely, which means they'd be hitting your bucket directly, racking up your costs, and ignoring all your smart caching rules. We need a way to lock that door tight.
And for the longest time, the answer was Origin Access Identity. Now, the easiest way to think about OAI is like a special virtual bouncer that only CloudFront knows. You create this OAI, and then you go to your S3 bucket policy and you say, hey, only this specific bouncer is allowed to get stuff from inside. Simple as that. It was the original lock on the door.
But, technology moves fast, and as AWS services got more advanced and security needs got stricter, some pretty serious cracks started showing in that old foundation. For a lot of modern apps, OAI just wasn't cutting it anymore. And these limitations, they're exactly the kind of thing you'll get quizzed on in the exam. And here are the big ones. These are total exam bait. First off, and this is a huge deal, OAI just doesn't work with objects encrypted using SSE-KMS. That's where you use AWS's own key management service. I mean, for any company that's serious about compliance, that's a complete non-starter. It also had spotty support for things like post or put requests. And here's the kicker: it's not supported in any new AWS regions that came out after December 2022. That last point alone tells you everything you need to know about its future, or lack thereof.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, and definitely one you need to be ready for on the exam. If OAI is the old creaky way of doing things, what's the new, shiny, best practice way to do it now?
And the answer, my friends, is Origin Access Control, or OAC for short. This isn't just a patch, it's the brand new, modern security vault built from the ground up to fix every single one of those problems OAI had.
Now, here's the key thing to grasp. OAC isn't just a new paint job on the old model. It's a totally different approach. Instead of that weird one-off virtual user, OAC uses a standard IAM service principle. It's like it's speaking the native language of AWS security, IAM, which makes it way more powerful, way more flexible, and just better. And look at this. The benefits line up perfectly to fix every single one of OAI's problems. You get way stronger security with short-term, rotating credentials, a massive improvement. You get full support for all HTTP methods, which is great for dynamic apps. You get that all-important SSE-KMS support, a huge win for security and compliance. And of course, it works everywhere, in every single AWS region, now and in the future. It's a total clean sweep.
Okay, get ready. This next slide, this is the one you're going to want to screenshot, save for your notes, you name it. This is the head-to-head showdown that boils it all down for your exam prep.
I mean, just look at this chart. It's a knockout. Security model, OAC's modern IAM approach wins hands down. SSE-KMS support, it's a flat no for OAI and a yes for OAC. HTTP methods, region availability, no contest, OAC takes it. It even offers stronger protection against sneaky attacks like the confused deputy problem. The takeaway here is super simple. If an exam question asks for the best, the most secure, or the recommended option, the answer is always OAC. Period.
All right, so we've established OAC is the way to go. It's better, it's more secure. But how do you actually set it up? Because as a solutions architect, you've got to know the how just as much as the why.
The great thing is AWS made this process super straightforward. When you're in your CloudFront settings for your S3 Origin, you just pick Origin Access Control settings. You can create a new one right there, and then the console does this awesome thing where it just hands you the exact S3 bucket policy you need. You just copy it, pop over to your S3 bucket permissions, paste it in, and you are done.
Okay, pay close attention here because this is a critical pro tip, especially if you're migrating a live website. To pull this off with zero downtime, you do it in 2 steps. Step 1. You go to your S3 bucket policy and you update it to allow access from both the old OAI and the new OAC. Save that first. Then you go back to CloudFront and save the change to officially switch to OAC. Why? Because while CloudFront is updating its thousands of servers around the world, this policy ensures both the old and new methods work. So your users experience nothing. A perfectly seamless transition.
And that leads us to the big final question on everyone's mind. If you've got stuff already running with OAI, do you need to drop everything and migrate? And what's the rule for new projects?
So first, let's be super clear on what AWS is saying. Your existing setups using OAI are not going to break. They aren't turning it off. So you can take a deep breath. But let's be real. Continue to work and is the modern best practice are 2 very, very different things, right?
So here's the bottom line. Should you stick with OAI? Honestly, only if it's a legacy system you absolutely can't touch. It works, but you're using old tech with known limitations. Should you migrate to OAC? Absolutely, 100% yes. It's the official AWS recommendation for everything new, and it's what you should be doing for your existing apps. It's more secure, it's more capable, it's future-proof. And for your exam, OAC is always the right answer for any new design.
And there you have it. That's the whole story of OAI versus OAC. We've gone from the original lock on the door to the modern high-security vault. So the real question to take away for both the exam and for your own work is this. Now that you know what the best practice is, how are you going to build your content delivery to be secure for the future?